And it's exciting that we have a first-time guest on the channel tonight.
No, we have a guest host. She has not even seen the episode yet. I hope your commentary will be beneficial to everyone, okay? Welcome everyone to another episode of Dad's Dagobah. We are reviewing the 8th and final episode of Ahsoka Season 1. I would assume it looks like a Season 1. I feel like the trajectory of the season just went uphill until the very end where it kind of plateaued a bit. But we can talk about that in a bit. Those are my thoughts. Sean, what's the word of the week this week for you?
My word of the week is salvaged. In that I feel like what started at it obviously was season finale. Have to assume there's a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the latter half of this season salvaged the show for me.
Oh, for sure.
But I also, the little nuance in the word of the week of salvaged is salvaged, kind of a question mark, because we can talk about this later in our analysis, but there are some things that I'm like, how are they going to salvage some of these storylines?
The questions that they leave for us, right?
Yes. Anyway, but what is your word of the week?
Zombies. Brains. Kind of an odd choice. I know there's some precedent for it in the Clone Wars, but hopefully this is just a one-time thing. But anyway.
It's definitely something that I feel like people for a long time have wanted introduced into Star Wars for some reason. I have never felt that way, like I needed zombies in Star Wars. But we got a little. It was kind of smart of Dave Filoni to do this because it's like we can isolate this in a separate galaxy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The Great Mothers are on the ship heading back over to
I know they're on Dathomir now, right?
So we'll see.
Well, I mean, we might as well get started. We are filming this episode almost a week after the finale came out. So forgive us if we're a bit rusty on the details. But as I remember, the opening shot is when What's-Her-Face gets her witchy powers. Is that right?
Yes. And the Blade of Talzin.
Yeah. And it seems as though Thrawn knows from the get-go she's going to need to sacrifice herself. I think he knows she's going to be left behind, and she's going to be our delay tactic.
Yeah, I there's a lot of subtlety in what's going on between Thrawn and Morgan and the Great Mothers, and I don't know that I caught all of it because there were definitely times in previous episodes, but certainly in this episode, where I felt like, am I supposed to be understanding the relationships at play here? And many times I didn't.
I think the thing we're supposed to understand is they're not on the same page. They're working together for now, but that's not going to last. Especially when he blows up their temple at the end, and one of the mothers gives him a look like, what?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think, is it Ezra that when he reunites with Ahsoka and Sabine, obviously, and they're all three together, is it him that explains that once they got there, Thrawn woke them up?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that answers something that we had wondered about in weeks past. Like, what were they just hanging out on Paradia, or what were they doing?
I wonder if they were just like in a stasis or something when they sent out their emissaries to the other galaxy thousands of years ago. Maybe they just kind of said, we'll stay in these catacombs until someone returns and wakes us up.
And by giving Morgan powers and the Blade of Talzin, obviously a reference to Mother Talzin from the Clone Wars animated series, who is like the leader of the witches of Dathomir, the Night Sisters. The leader of that group in that whole Clone Wars arc. How do the Great Mothers know who that is? How are they connected? And why are they giving Morgan Elsbeth, who doesn't even have powers until right now, what we could assume would be like one of the most significant artifacts of their entire creed? It was just I don't know that I was upset by it. It was fine, but I was a little bit like, this seems a little bit like too much of a connecty convenient thing.
I wonder if they knew that she wasn't going to be around for that long time. We can give her the power; she'll be dead in an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what their future telling ability is like, and it seems like they can just conjure that sword whenever they need to. So I wonder if they can just reconjure it somewhere else, maybe.
I mean, they're the Sorting Hat pulling out that sword of Gryffindor, baby.
I know, right? They can just here you go. Um, then we join Ahsoka and Sabine, and why can't I think of his name right now?
Ezra?
Ezra and the Turtle People. Uh, just meandering somewhere. Where are they headed? Just any old place? Into
Yeah.
hiding?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think
Out in the wide open?
the wide open, but then Thrawn also, it seems like he just keeps sending send one TIE fighter, send two TIE fighters, send a little task force. I don't really care what happens to them as long as they don't make it back onto this ship.
Yeah, his whole thing is to delay, right? Delay so that we can get out of here without any of them joining us. Because I think he's afraid of Ahsoka. He knows who her master is and who she is. And it's already been bested by Ezra once.
Listen, I really appreciate that we're filming this a week after it came out, so we've been able to see all the Twitter commentary and the memes. And one of the memes I've particularly enjoyed is the look of Thrawn when he finds out that Ahsoka is Anakin's apprentice. And then it's like the look that he has when he gets back to the galaxy. He's like, he thinks he just abandoned Anakin's apprentice in another galaxy, only to return to this galaxy and find out that Anakin's son is the Jedi Grand Master of the galaxy. Like, he can't escape. He can't escape, Anakin.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We talked about how Luke was going to have to be in the show, and I think it's okay that he wasn't in this first season. That like doesn't bother me at all. But I think we're setting up that, like you just said, he will have to be in either the next season or the movie or something, because even though Ahsoka obviously is the main character of this, Luke is the main character currently in that galaxy, right?
Yeah. I think this is where I do think that Disney in general, Disney Star Wars, is painting themselves into a corner, because on one hand, they're trying to create new stories and like move away from the Skywalker saga. And yet, from a continuity perspective, it would make no sense for a plot line this big, Thrawn's return to the galaxy, for Leia and Luke to be completely MIA and nowhere to be found in the resolution of this.
Totally. And I think we know that Ahsoka is going to have to like leave or pass away, right?
Yeah.
Because in the sequel trilogy, she's not there.
Yeah. And neither is Sabine or Ezra.
We do see the ghost in the final battle over Exegol. It's just the ghost though. But yes,
Oh, yeah.
I know I see what you're saying though.
So that could be Ezra and Sabine, or it could be Hera, it could be Jason Syndulla.
Maybe Jason Segura is going to be trained by Rey in the new movies. Anyway, now we're getting into speculative. But I agree. They have. I like how you said that they painted themselves into a corner where they're introducing new people. But I think we've said this before in many other of the shows that they've come out with. You got to incorporate the main player somehow because the continuity's lost.
Yeah. Well, at the last Star Wars Celebration, they announced three new movies, and one of those being a Dave Filoni kind of Mandoverse culmination of what he's been building between Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to also incorporate the Rangers of the New Republic that has been scrapped, as far as we know. So again, if we're doing like a legit movie and like a big budget Star Wars movie, even more, in my opinion, it'd be very strange to do a large movie project like that and the Skywalkers are like not involved at all. It's like, what? But
It's just going to be
again,
C-3PO coming in and being a little cameo every time.
right.
From General Leia Organa.
Yeah, just a little off-screen references, and yeah. But if they do that, obviously my question becomes: are they going the Book of Boba Fett route, where they just 100% just CGI these people, CGI the Luke and Leia into this? Are they going to recast? And but anyway, it's obviously completely speculative.
Well, listen, once they recast Luke and Leia and Obi-Wan, I think that opened up the floodgates for more recasting as needed. Well, that's different
But
though, because
that's
they
when
were kids.
they were children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to have to recast Balin.
That's the part of my salvage word of the week of like, you're watching that cliffhanger when he's literally on a cliff on the hand of the father.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm just thinking to myself, he was such a good character and such a great performance. It's a shame that clearly there were more plans of like what's going to happen with him. That was not a resolved storyline.
Why do you think? What about him made him so great? Because I agree, he was so great, but I've been trying to figure out what it was that made him great. Was it the acting? Was it the writing? Was it the mystery behind him that you're just like, he's an interesting character? Like, what is it about him, do you think?
I think all of that is a contributing factor. I do think he was a very you've said this before, it felt Qui-Gon-esque. So the writing was good, but the delivery of just kind of a very stoic delivery was something that I appreciated and I
Mm-hmm.
felt like was really good. And what's interesting about this whole kind of dilemma that they find themselves in now with the casting is he was he was of the 8 episodes, he was in maybe 4 or 5, and he didn't have a massive part.
True. Yeah.
Um, and yet for some reason I'm like, oh man, like they can't recast him. I'm like, well, they definitely can. He's not like he's some iconic 40-year-old legacy character. But for some reason I do feel a little bit like, oh, that's a shame that they have to recast him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they recast Han Solo, so they can recast Baylan Skoll.
Yep. Um, yeah. It's such an interesting and the most interesting storyline to me of the cliffhangers. Of the actual cliffhangers, his is the most I'm like, oh no, what's gonna happen there? Like you kind of feel like, okay, Ahsoka is gonna eventually defeat Thrawn. It's gonna be some big battle. They'll, we know what's gonna happen there. And Shin, I don't really care about what Shin's doing. Not really interesting. The Great Mothers, okay, but him, I'm like, oh no, what's that? What's going on there? Now this is interesting.
I agree. I am totally on that train, hence my background of him being on that massive statue of we talked about in the first couple weeks, episode 3 or 4, when we were speculating about Sam Witwer and Anakin in the world between worlds, and is he a manifestation of the sun and the Mortis gods and all that stuff. And Filoni is like, let me sprinkle a little bit more of these breadcrumbs here.
Mm-hmm.
That on this, is it Peridia or Peridia? I don't know how to pronounce the name of the planet.
Yeah.
That there are massive statues of the three Mortis gods, and Balin standing on the outstretched hand of the father. You can see the son right next to him, and then the daughter is next to him with the head chopped off.
And also, she's like away from the two of them.
There's like a little rift, a split there. And so I've heard all types of theories this week about, is Anakin the new father, and Ahsoka is destined to become the daughter?
Well, Ahsoka already is the daughter, right? Doesn't she have the spirit of the daughter in her?
Oh, is that right?
That was the whole storyline.
Okay.
And that's why
She saw her
that's why she has the owl
she
following
saw
her.
her little owl again, yeah. Is that a Rebels or a Clone Wars arc that she becomes the daughter?
Clone Wars. They go to some obelisk in space, which transports them to this Mortis world, where Ahsoka dies, but then they insert the spirit of the daughter into Ahsoka because the daughter's about to die, and so they put the spirit of the daughter into Ahsoka and bring back Ahsoka. So that's why she's always had that owl following her around, because that's the Morai. No, is that the word I'm looking for? Anyway,
Yeah. Okay,
we've seen that owl before. We've seen it in the World Between Worlds with Ezra showing him around. Then in Mandalorian, when they're on that planet where we first meet Ahsoka, you see a little owl in a tree. And then obviously this episode as well, she sees it.
that makes more sense. Okay, so she's already the daughter. Yeah, maybe Balin's trying to become the father.
Who's the son?
Anakin?
Huh?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, so that to me though is just, it's interesting because that lore comes straight out of Clone Wars, and now it's just Dave is just moving it all into live action.
Love it. Yeah.
And I found it
Doesn't feel
interesting.
weird. The zombies feels weird. This doesn't for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah, because it made sense in the Clone Wars that it's like an embodiment of the Force, and there has to be a balance between light and dark, and keeping those powers in check, and that there are kind of embodiments of both of those aspects of the Force, type of thing.
I guess the question is, why are those statues, or colossuses, on Peridia of another galaxy?
Yeah.
That's one question that we need to answer, right?
Well, that brings into question like that there's some sort of power that the great mothers are afraid of that's greater than their own power, that Balin is like trying to break this cycle of
Mm-hmm.
the rise and fall of the Jedi and all that kind of stuff. He's trying to unleash something here. I've seen a lot of weird theories, but I don't know how much stock I put into any of them, because
Yeah.
I don't even know if we're getting a season 2.
Where does Hu Yang keep the extra kyber crystals in the ship? Because Ezra makes a new lightsaber and somehow gets a kyber crystal. Am I
Yeah,
reading too much into that? Is
that's
that
a great
strange?
question. Well, I even thought while we were doing this, I'm like, why isn't Hu Yang with Luke? Luke is rebuilding a Jedi temple in the Jedi Order.
Yeah,
You think
why
Hu
is he with
Yang would be
Ahsoka?
like, this is my entire purpose. For millennia, I have been helping with the training and instruction of the next generation of Jedi.
But
but
instead, I'd
I
rather
don't
hang
like.
out with this lady who doesn't associate with the Jedi and who we bicker and argue about the ways of the
I
Jedi.
think Hugh Yang is prejudiced against Luke because Hugh Yang's like, Luke didn't go through my training program. Okay.
Oh, there
He
you
bypassed on an accelerated track. He went straight to Master Yoda and did basically like 2 weeks of training, and he thinks that he's a Jedi.
You're not no real Jedi. Um, so Ezra makes a new lightsaber. It's blue, I believe, right?
It looks like Kanan's.
Yep, looks like his master's Kanan, because Hu Yang just happened to have. It's like the Elder Wand. I saved this. That
Well, yeah,
phoenix gave 2 feathers.
yeah. It's like Ollivander being like, curious, like the brother of this one gave you that scar. Like, wow, that's convenient. Like, Ollivander, spoiler alert, Harry's a Horcrux.
Ollivander knew it the whole time too. um, let's see. Then I don't know. I feel like we can just skip to the battle scene where they get to the temple. They force open the doors. The three of them. One of them's not strong enough to open up the doors, but the three of them are. They get into the temple and they start fighting the stormtroopers. Um, Disappointing with how easy the stormtroopers go down, because I feel like Thrawn stormtroopers should be better, but beside the point. The sisters or the mothers use their magic. I was seeing some people thinking it was going to be Darth Maul that they were bringing back, but I felt like the whole idea of zombies was very well telegraphed from as soon as we saw Marok die, you know. But
Yeah.
what was interesting to me was they brought them back to life, but when they were killed or hit a second time, we don't see that green smoke disappear. So I wanted to ask, are they different? Was Marok different? Was he not actually a body in that suit? Maybe he was just gaseous material? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, that's a great question, and I'll add another question to it. After they were reanimated, I think Sabine even shoots some of them, and they go down, but then get back up like they can't be killed again.
Yeah.
So that was also weird. Like, so now they're immortal zombies. I guess you got to cut off the head. You know, Sabine stabs one through the head and it dies. So that's
Catwoman
the
style.
secret.
Yeah.
You got to kill the brain.
Yeah, you gotta knock out the brain.
But that's a great question because, yeah, that I feel like that's a little bit of an inconsistency there for
hmm
sure.
I was a bit disappointed that Ezra went the lightsaber route. I like the idea of him being this force user, this force pusher, you know, this non-lightsaber user, and I was excited for how they'd show that. But then they're like, and he's got a lightsaber. It's like, oh, I kind of liked that idea, but anyway.
Yeah, but I agree. I've seen some people kind of criticize a little bit that little choreographed scene that Ahsoka's kind of lightsaber deflection seem a little bit clunky.
Uh-huh.
And then that one where she like goes forward and she's like pauses and poses like, and she's like smiling. I'm like, all right, stay focused, Ahsoka, stay focused. But
Don't get cocky.
this is where Thrawn is like, we need more time. Morgan, sacrifice yourself. Stay here and keep them busy while we get on the ship and escape. Which again, I'm like, why are these ladies so loyal to Thrawn?
I think their whole goal is to get to Dathomir. And then once they're there, they'll drop them like it's hot, I guess. I don't know.
But even like Morgan Elsbeth, why is she like, I understand, I'll do it, I'll sacrifice myself. I'd be like, let's all get on the ship and we'll stand at the base, keep all 150 of your stormtroopers right on the edge and just shoot at them if they try to get on the ship.
Maybe if we have 100 people stand and shoot at the same time, they won't be able to jump on the ship. Anyone think of that idea?
Yeah. I saw another meme about Enoch, the bodyguard guy with the cool helmet, like chalk him up in the huge tally of Star Wars characters that look really cool but do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he just gives reports. What's he do?
I thought he was going to be kind of a mini antagonist, like a mini boss they were going to have to fight.
Nothing.
But anyway, that's the second time now that Ahsoka has had to fight Morgan Elsbeth. Now their duel, I felt like was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, totally.
It was like night and day difference between that and the stormtrooper fight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well choreographed. Um, I think one thing I saw was Morgan Elsbeth did let two Jedi just get behind her and go. So I don't know what the purpose of that was.
I think that she may be inferred from Thrawn, like Ahsoka is the one that he was scared of. Like, don't let Ahsoka on this ship.
Yeah, and she dies. Well, she first knocks out one of Ahsoka's lightsabers, and what is it about? What happened? Oh, it's when Sabine, Ahsoka's about to lose to Morgan, which I don't understand. First of all, but it's Sabine staying behind that ultimately saves Ahsoka.
Well, before this too, we get Sabine's kind of whole complete circle here of she's about to die, getting choked to death by this zombie death trooper, and she's able to Luke Skywalker in the Wampa Cave her lightsaber to her using the Force, finally unlocking that potential, killing the guy. And then I did have to laugh because I've loved the memes of she couldn't move a freaking cup. Then in a moment of need, she definitely could call her lightsaber, and she's graduated 5 minutes later to hurling a human body 800 yards into the air.
That's what my picture's from. Gimli having to be tossed. Ezra had to be tossed up to the ship.
You'll have to toss me.
That was. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I kind of like where we are with Sabine, where she's like both lightsaber and blaster user. That to me is a happy medium. Because I think even Ahsoka tells her, like, get out your blasters. Like when she's having difficulty with the lightsaber down below, like, get out your blasters. And then she's like, the tide turns a bit for her. But yeah, she can't move a cup, but then she can toss her friend. Yeah, I don't know. It's the Force, right? It's movie magic.
Yeah. So Ezra gets up there, and so he is on the ship. Now, I don't know if I'm just a big dum-dum, which is very possible, but I thought it was a little bit of a twist. I wasn't expecting that Ezra would be the only one to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And now Sabine and Ahsoka are stranded.
It is the old switcheroo.
Yeah. So I felt like that was a bit of a plot twist to me that I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
Or some people would be like, I saw that a mile away. Well, good for you.
And how did he get on the ship and remain on the ship and then eventually get away from the ship?
He definitely dressed in that stormtrooper that he killed immediately. He dressed in his armor.
And then just stayed in the shuttle and then left?
And yeah, when they're approaching Dathomir, he somehow steals a shuttle and abandoned ship, and nobody noticed or thought anything of it. He's like, I'm just gonna go rendezvous with the New Republic real quick.
I thought it was weird. Oh, you're frozen.
Oh,
hold on.
You're frozen. Oh, hello?
Okay, we're back. Okay.
We're back. So he steals a ship, nobody notices.
Gets away just fine.
He's just gonna go rendezvous with the New Republic, like, don't mind me.
And I know it's supposed to be this cool moment for us that Chopper realizes who it is, but in what world do you land an enemy shuttle in a shuttle bay, come out dressed in the armor, and guns drawn pointed at you, and you're just like, I will stay in this costume for as long as possible.
Without announcing myself.
without announcing who I am.
Like that could have been a suicide bomber, kamikaze. He could have landed in there and just trying to do damage. And the New Republic's just like, let's all go out and stand about, 50 yards away just in
Bring
case, and all
bring
have your
our most
blasters up.
important people out here.
Yeah, that was a little bit strange. And I've also seen people feeling like they weren't quite satisfied with Hera and Ezra's reunion.
They just stared at each other. Same thing with Sabine and Ezra. It was like, oh, hey, you. Oh, long time. Where have you been? Like, can we not have an emotional reunion at all in this show?
Yeah, so you know, interesting how that reunion happened. Thrawn and the Great Mothers are now back on Dathomir. And then we get Ahsoka and Sabine and Huyang with our turtle friends hanging out. Oh wait, first we get to see Shin go to these raiders and she turns her lightsaber on. Now, what did you interpret that as?
Um, I'm your leader now. Follow me.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I interpreted it as. I'm like, it was like a beacon of, hey, over here. I'm like in charge now. I'm going to lead you and we're going to start something. I don't know.
Did you see
Uh,
something else?
there was something on social media about like the actual like text description of the episode or something, like the summary, either on Wikipedia or whatever it is from like the showrunners or something, that it's like the throwaway line about Shin in the episode is Shin um Shin like confronts the bandit group and like moves to kill them or something. And I'm like, what? That's
No,
what that was supposed to be her like, I'm gonna kill all of you.
no, that's not it at all.
So I don't know how much stock I put into that, but that was circulating. That like that apparently we all misread that she was going in there to kill them. Like well, I didn't get that at all.
That's strange. Let us know in the comments below what you think it
What do you think she was doing?
meant. I think we've already talked at length about Balin. I mean, the most interesting part. The one thing we haven't talked about yet is the real cliffhanger. And John, I want to ask you, of the two people, Sabine and Ahsoka, who actually saw Force Ghost Anakin? Did both of them see him? Did just Sabine? Did just Ahsoka? Did none of them see him? A lot of controversy I've seen on the internet about who actually saw him.
I My read on it was Sabine did not see him. She doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah, she just
Doesn't
saw
know.
a twinkle, right?
Yeah. She just had like a feeling. She just got like she was feeling the vibe. She was
Uh-huh.
feeling the energy. Like something's out there. But I just
Agree.
refuse to
Agree.
believe that she went from she can't even feel the force at all. Now she's grabbing lightsabers. She's hurling Ezra into a Star Destroyer, and now she's like, I can see Force Ghosts too. Look, there he is. And Ahsoka can't? No. So I don't think Sabine saw him. I think she felt. I think it's ambiguous in my mind whether or not Ahsoka did. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. Um,
I don't think she did.
I don't think. Yeah, I lean that way too. I don't think she did either. If she did, I think it was kind of like a Rey at the Lars homestead, looking off into the distance and seeing Luke and Leia there, as just like a it's almost the same type of kind of, I to use the word again, vibe of that and this Anakin Force Ghost cameo of just like a validation to the living character that like they're in the right place, everything's going to be okay, like
Mm-hmm.
they're being looked after type of thing. That's what I got from this Anakin cameo,
Okay.
where
What do you think it
he's just like still looking out for Ahsoka.
what do you think it means for the future of the show though? Why don't they make that the final scene of this season? Are we
Well,
going
see,
to have more of him?
this is I feel like, to me, the most likely of scenarios is if there is a season 2, Ahsoka and Sabine have to get entwined in this Balin storyline.
Yeah.
Whatever Balin is looking for, like, they're going to
That's the
get
only reason
wrapped
why
up.
they're on the planet still, right?
Yes. So the people still on the planet that we care about what's going on, Ahsoka and Sabine and Hu Yang. Got to throw Hu Yang in there. He's a character too.
Yeah.
Balin and Shin. They're all on the planet still. Which I'm surprised Shin was even there. I'm like, why didn't she go back to the Star Destroyer? But whatever. So that's another character that I really am unsure about what her motivations are.
What
What's
is the
going on in
point
her
of view?
head. Yeah. But they're all there. And so in a season 2, I would expect that they all would still have things to do and a character arc to experience. And so that's where I feel like Anakin could continue to be a part of this story of, is he involved in this greater power Mortis gods storyline happening?
Oh, I would assume that's what we're supposed to. That's what I thought we're supposed to get from this. Yeah.
Especially with the theories that people have been putting on Twitter that he already is the embodiment of the Father, the light side and the dark side in perfect balance, where he's experienced both. He can fill the role of the Father, and Ahsoka is the daughter already. That he's there because he's like guiding her to her eventual, like,
Mm-hmm.
embrace of, you're just going to do this full time now and like kind of leave this mortal plane. um but I don't know what else he would do. I don't think there's any more. I don't think that he needs to be there anymore to, like, what Ahsoka needed him for in this season, which was helping her resolve her past and her kind of emotional baggage of the legacy of her training.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is done. So the only reason he would continue to mentor her is if there was some other transition or thing she needed to do.
Okay. Good. We're on the same page then. That's how I feel. He's there as a no longer the mentorship of master to Padawan. Now it's a something bigger's going on. We're part of something much bigger, right?
Yes. But it does, again, I'll throw this in again. If next season we get any of Luke, or in this movie we get more Luke or anything, I have to be like, is Anakin, Force Ghost Anakin, interacting with Luke, or are any other Force Ghost Jedi Masters interacting with Luke at this time in his life? We see Yoda obviously appear to him in The Last Jedi. Um, but it would stand to reason that as he's building a new Jedi Order, that's when he would need as much kind of mentorship as possible. So it just opens a can of worms.
It is strange that. Yeah, didn't think about that. Luke is your son, Anakin. He needs some help. You know,
Yeah.
he's struggling. He's struggling.
And and I understand that Ahsoka had the relationship with Anakin, but Luke literally, like, redeemed you. He sacrificed himself on the bet. He went all in. He pushed his chips all the way in on, you would choose the light over the dark, and bet his life on it,
Yep. Yep.
and, like, had that relationship with you as a father and a son, blah blah blah. And I selfishly, I would like to see more of that explored and or highlighted in some sort of interaction between Hayden and CGI Luke.
We get that at the end of Return of the Jedi, bro.
I know.
Luke looks off at the Ewok village and sees Hayden Christensen standing there in the shadows.
Yeah. So I mean,
Do you
let's
need
get
any
a
more than that?
let's get a little let's get a little Hayden Mark Hamill action happening.
I love it. I love it. Anything else we can talk about this season?
The last thing I'll say about this is that I saw a lot on Twitter about how they felt like the season, like you said, was really great, and people were really kind of negative about the last two episodes. I don't know that I was quite on that train. I didn't feel like there was a huge drop off um, for the last two. I thought they were pretty solid. I thought the last five episodes of this season were all really really good. Kept my attention and had me feeling like this was an entertaining and enjoyable show. Um, the I don't know if you saw the last little thing that people were upset about was Thrawn's line of "Long live the Empire," because apparently in one of the books or the comics or something, he denounces the Empire, or he says that he's really only in this for the Chiss ascendancy, which is his people, to protect his people, his race of people. And so there was a whole section of Twitter that were like furious that Dave Filoni had Thrawn say that line because they felt like it was a betrayal of the character. And to those people, I say, get over it. Okay. If we're gonna be beholden to throwaway panels on the comics and lines in a book that, you know, 2,000 people on this planet have read out of the billions of us, and certainly the millions that watch the movies and the shows and stuff, you're missing the point here.
Yeah.
You're missing the point.
Yeah. A line I didn't even think caused any controversy at all, but I don't know.
But anyway, everyone else, why don't you tell us what you thought of this season of Ahsoka? What are some things you would like to see explored in a potential season two? And how many Force Ghosts do you think are appropriate to appear with Jedi Master Luke Skywalker as he builds his new Jedi Order?
I know, right? And with that, we will see you next time when we start reviewing what's next show.
I think it's Skeleton Crew in January.
There we go. Little kid
So
show. Well, not little kid. It's a kid show, but not for maybe I don't know. I don't know what it is. A young adult show.
I feel like it's gonna. Well,
Like
I
a
don't know.
Goonies, right? Isn't that what they said?
And Goonies is obviously such a kind of cult classic that I'm a little bit worried that they're setting themselves up to fail if everyone's
Yeah.
going to be expecting that this is an instant classic like the Goonies.
Yeah. Then they're saying like, oh, it's like Stranger Things. I'm like, oh, another juggernaut you're comparing yourself to?
Right. But I get the idea that you can have a show with kids as the main characters and it still be very good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it not just be like, this is a kiddie show. No, you can have kids as the main characters and it be a really great show. But the jury will be out for when it actually comes out, obviously.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Okay, well, first, let me just say as we end this, Joseph, gold star to you that you did this entire episode with a baby in your arms.
Oh, and she's just now waking up. She's waking up.
Really great first episode for young. I don't know if I don't know. I don't want to dox her already. So I'll just say baby Nailer.
Our little Padawan Nailer.
Yes, for little Padawan Nailer. Gold star to her as well. And everyone, until next time.
Wait. We
Wait.
came up with the new ending.
Oh, we did. What was it? We solicited some feedback from some of our previous guest hosts.
Our number one fan. Our number one fan. This is the way. No. That's all, folks. What did we say? What did we decide on?
I literally can't remember. I know we talked about it.
Shane, get in the comments. What did we decide on? Anyway, this is the way.
We have spoken.
And that's it for Dads of Dagobah. Or it's like something like putting the kids to bed, time to tuck you in or something. What was it? It was
Oh,
something
yeah, was
kid
it a play
related.
on like being dads?
I don't
Is it? It's bedtime for these dads.
shoot. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know. No, I don't know. No, no
Yeah,
idea.
I'm even trying to think, was there, we didn't record any of that when we were doing that, so it's not like we could go back and see what we said.
Anyway, that's how we're ending this episode. We'll see you next time on The Dads of Dagobah.
Bye.